taking the ultimate good boy review challenge, having my own dog kick me in the stomach while we do this thing. Yeah, you guys, you can probably hear her panting, but I don't think she's like right.
She's like just
off barely screen. Like I'm patting her head right now. I can just barely see her.
Like the fact that we're on a black couch and wearing black shirt and she's a black dog doesn't really help much either.
I know. You can maybe see a little bit of the whites of her eyes when she like looks at me a little bit. Hey, but you can see probably the red of her tongue sticking out. But yeah. So yeah, we're talking about Good Boy. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about some of the horror films that came out in 2025 that we didn't get a chance to talk about earlier. And this is one that you have been wanting to talk about for a long time. Like I remember when I heard the premise of this, I was like, it's probably gonna be great. I don't want to see it because the premise alone is so like it. I can feel myself crying from the story I'm forming in my head. But it's about a dog, so you really want to see it.
It's like a lot of people have been saying that this is basically like a live-action Courage the Cowardly Dog.
There is an animator who I follow on Blue Sky. She's a storyboard artist, and she saw this before I did. And she did a ton of fan art of Indy the dog as Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, people are saying that this is a Courage the Cowardly Dog film. It's not.
No, but like it has a similar idea, like a dog that can like see ghosts and everything and is scared for their owner. So
yeah,
but that's basically where the similarities end.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, basically. This is a film that it's about Indy the dog. That is their name. And their owner, Todd, he is recovering from cancer. And he has been given the all clear. It looks like he's fine. But then it looks like things are turning for the worse again. So he decides that he is going to go back out into the country where their grandfather used to live. And his grandfather passed away, but he thinks that, okay, maybe it's good for me to get out of the city.
Yeah, like get some fresh air and everything.
Yeah, like there's moments where you see him, he's trying to put a whole bunch of like holistic stuff in the house, like a whole bunch of plants, trying to do all this like alternative mess and stuff. Yeah. Because the doctors have basically told him, listen, you're not getting better and there's nothing else that we can really do. However, he's also being hunted by a demon. A demon is following them around, and this thing starts off, like the very beginning of this is Todd passed out in his bed. Indy's up there too, and then Indy perks up and looks in the corner, and you just see this big shadow forming, and you just see Indy staring at. And from there, this is a very simple film. Before we started recording this, we watched this back in October. Mm-hmm. Because we were going to see if we could possibly squeeze it into our 31 days of Thor Halloween in there. But we watched this back in October. And as we were about to record this review today, you said, I'm forgetting some of the things that happened in here. And I was like, what happened in here? This film is only like an hour long. It is short.
It is a very independent movie. Like, it has a very small cast.
There's like 6 people in this cast. 6 people and 2 dogs. That's it. That's the entire cast of the film. Most of those, let's see, 4 of those people are only there in videotapes or there for one shot. This is, and then even besides that, we are following this from the point of view of Indy the dog. Mm-hmm. Indy's by themselves for large periods of this time, and so there's nobody there to talk to Indy. It's just Indy checking out this house, just trying to like see what's going on in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I didn't like this film. And a lot of it is because I don't think they do a very good job of telling the story from the dog's point of view. Because there's not a lot of story happening in here.
Honestly, I felt like this could have been a short.
Yes, this would be an amazing 15-minute long short. Mm-hmm. This is 15 minutes of story stretched out into an hour. And also, if it was 15 minutes, I'd probably... Indy is a good boy. Mm-hmm. Indy's a great dog. Indy's not the best actor.
Yeah,
I hate saying that.
It is difficult to get a dog to act.
Exactly. That's why I hate saying that. I hate saying it so much because it's not like they've got a voiceover in there giving us Indy's thoughts or anything. But there's moments in here where, like I said, in the beginning of this film, this thing opens up with Indy on the bed and their owner is asleep, and the big shadow starts to form and appear. And all I could think was, what dog, when they see some big shadowy mystery thing appear inside their house, is not going to start barking or growling or reacting at all? Like, Indy just sits there and stares.
That's what he does a lot throughout the movie.
That's the majority of what Indy's doing in this film.
And, like, I get that they're trying to, like, portray, like, oh, he's like, wondering what's going on, and, like, he's, like, maybe, like, too scared to do anything.
Yeah, there's, like, one moment in there in which Indy's supposed to be afraid, and then it, like, cuts to between his legs, and, like, you see, like, he's peeing because he's afraid. And it's, like, okay, I feel like you wouldn't need to do that if... Again, I don't want to criticize the acting of Indy the dog because it's a dog. Hey, Peach.
Hey.
You talking shit about dogs? No. But, yeah, a large chunk of this film of Indy, who is our star, because you don't even see people's faces. That's something else that I feel we have to point out. Everybody's faces is hidden in this film.
Like we said, it's from the dog's point of view, so you see everything, like, at the dog's level. Like, you see... like, from the waist down.
Yeah,
it's
like that.
Like, very much like Lady and the Tramp. Like,
oh, yeah. That might have even been partly the inspiration, too. For not the film, but for why they decided to shoot it like that. But, yeah, But because we're just sticking with Indy the whole time, Indy just stares, and that's the majority of what they do. And a lot of the times, the way that Indy is staring... Listen, we got a dog here. I know that look... That is the look of my owner is standing off screen and is giving me the stay command. And it's like, yeah. And that's kind of just what he's doing. And because of that, it was hard for me to kind of get into the film, like immersed in the film.
Right.
Because every time that we got that shot of Indy I could feel the owner standing off screen. Like, it felt like I could feel the camera in the room filming the dog. And I hate saying that because, again, it's a dog. It's not a professionally trained actor. But there are dogs that could pull this stuff off. But then again, it's an indie film.
Yeah, like if it was a Hollywood, movie, like, there would definitely, like, be, like, trainers on set and everything.
That would be a professional dog that has spent its entire life learning how to do this stuff. Yeah, Indy is an indie dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, he fits his name.
So I'm trying to give the film credit on that.
Right.
I don't want smack talking too much. But there's also a lot of other things in here that I just look at, I'm like, I feel like you could definitely have done that better. Like, the whole mystery of what's going on in the house. I constantly look at that as like, am I supposed to... I mean, I know that, again, we're following this from the point of view of the dog. So the dog... But... Does Indy understand what's happening?
Right, like, does the dog know what's going on? How much does the dog know what's going on?
Because there's, like, moments in which Indy finds, like, a big hole in the basement and, like, okay, and, like, it's getting, like, flashes of stuff in there, and I'm just like, I honestly have no idea if the dog understands anything. Does it? I don't know. I don't know what the film is trying to convey to me right now. Because I have no idea what the hell is going on, but I get the sense that the dog is supposed to know, but if the dog is supposed to know, I should know, because I'm with the dog. Yeah, I do not think this film does a good enough job explaining what is going on, but it also doesn't do a good enough job of explaining whether or not I'm supposed to know what's going on, if that makes sense. And I feel bad saying all this. I do. Because these people worked hard on this. It's an original idea. I give them credit for that. But yeah, I just kept looking at this like, okay, there's also this other thing where if the dog isn't supposed to know what's going on, then it's understandable that the audience will know what's going on. But you have to, if the audience isn't supposed to know what's going on, there is an art form to making a film that we can still go along with when we don't understand what's happening. And I don't think this film finds that spot.
Like, I feel like the audience is supposed to, like, figure out what's going on along with Indy, like, slowly put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, and I know people are going to say, what do you mean what's going on? It's a demon possession. It's like, yes, obviously. But there's moments where they're like, where Indy's like exploring, like you're finding like there's some kind of a mystery behind all of this, and there's something deeper about this.
Yeah, like he meets up like with a ghost of a former dog that used to live there.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, once you get to that point, it's like, okay, you have to start like conveying stuff, because like, if Indy is meeting the ghost of a former dog, the only reason why that would happen is if we were supposed to get clues. I'm just looking at these clues like, I don't know. I'm just getting demon. That's it. I'm just getting demon, but it feels like the film thinks there's more to it than just demon. And if there is more to it than just demon, then I don't think the film conveyed that well enough. And let me just say, I am fine with it being just demon, because again, the purpose of this film is, what does the dog experience when their owner is possessed by a demon?
mm-hmm.
So I don't even think you need to get like, some guy coming in there going like, oh, this thing is 5,000 years old. Like, I don't think you need any of that. But the film feels like it's trying to set something like that up. And I was just because like they find like tapes of the person who used to live there,
like,
and it feels like they were also possessed and haunted by this thing.
Like there's something in the house that's supposed to like.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like the film is only getting like 50% of the explanation that we need, but it's a film. But the way in which they're conveying it, it feels like they think they've given us 100%. I'm just like, no, you didn't really convey this quite well enough. But you also didn't make the film congeal, I guess is the word I want to go with, well enough that I can go along with us not knowing anything. And a lot of the reason why it doesn't really congeal is that, yeah, I hate saying this again, but a large part of this film is just the dog just sitting there staring. And it's like, okay, if the dog is just sitting there, like, the dog's got to be doing something. There's got to be something that the dog...
Yeah, like make the dog bark at something. Or
that drove me nuts. The dog only barks once in this film at something, and it drove me insane. I'm like, come on, man. No dog would not react to this. Yeah, so... But also, and this is, we're not getting into spoiler stuff just yet on this. But also, I will say, I was still giving this film a lot of credit. I was still giving like, listen, man, it's an original idea. I don't think that they're really capturing a lot of this stuff all that well, but it's an original idea, and I gotta give you credit on this. The end of this film pissed me off. I'm sorry, but it did. And I'm not going to say what exactly happens at the end. We'll save that for the spoiler part. But the end of this film made me go, what the hell was the point of any of this? But yeah, like I don't want to go into too many spoilers, but it felt like there was a thing that needed to be overcome in here. There was a goal.
Yeah.
This film sets up a goal. The goal is not achieved. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of look at it like, okay, what's the moral? Because if you're going to fail in your goal, there needs to be a moral. There needs to be a thing that's learned. What the hell is it? What was anyone learn?
Trust your dog's instincts.
The dog didn't react to anything. Also, a lot of people are probably like, what the hell are you talking about when you say the film doesn't congeal with us not knowing anything? It's like, okay, we're constantly seeing this shadow appear. What is it doing to the owner? Because, like, the owner is suffering from cancer, and so it's like, okay, so is the demon giving him that? Or is the demon, like, taking advantage of him because he's, like, in a vulnerable mental state or something?
I think so. And it's like, the thing is, like, as the movie progresses, the owner becomes more, like, agitated and, like, mean towards the dog.
But that's because he's dying. That's because he's suffering from cancer. Like, it's very clear that's why he's upset about all this. The demon possession thing doesn't even feel like it matters to the human or it's affecting him in any way until the very end of the film. And at the very end of the film, when we actually do see like the demonic possession actually starting to happen, he barely feels different. He feels like he's just in a robot state, just like, he's just lumbering around. I'm like, all right, what was the goal here of the demon? What was he after other than just like gain like one soul? Because again, like we're following, okay, well, I guess that is the goal of any demon, but like, what was the demon going to do after that? Because you think like, okay, he becomes evil, and like, I'm thinking about like The Shining when Jack Torrance gets fully possessed and he's like running around with an axe. This dude, when he gets fully possessed, he just is lumbering around the house, just. The person feels like he is not affected by the demon at all until like the very end of the film, and then it feels like, okay, the demon is just doing nothing with us. Yeah, the demon just feels like, okay, it feels like this is a film about a dog who is losing his owner to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very sad story all there on its own. The demon story feels... It's the entire premise of the film. It feels like it takes up such little time of the actual plot. And it feels like, okay, well, that's the premise of the movie. It feels like you're not doing anything with it. It feels like the demon feels like an afterthought. I'll just say that. It really does to me. And again, I hate being coy about this and vague, but yeah, at the end of this film, it made me look at it and just go, well, why did we do any of this? What was the point of this movie? But I don't know. Like I said, you wanted to see this far more than I did.
Yeah, like I guess.
What did you think?
I was kind of let down.
Okay, good.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I was like you said, like I was expecting like more reactions from the dog and everything, like.
Yeah, and again, like I get that it's a dog. There's only so much you can ask from it, but there are protagonists. We need to connect with this dog, and again, every time that you saw the dog, I could feel the camera in the room and the trainer standing off screen.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, but that really made it hard for me to like connect to any of this. But also, like the dog, because the dog is not reacting a whole lot. The point of this film is that you are supposed to feel for the dog. This dog is trying to protect its owner from this demon. This owner doesn't know what's happening to his owner. Some strange things are going on. The dog is trying to comprehend it, but the dog needs to protect its owner from any of this. What I pitched to you is not this movie.
Yeah.
That's not the film. Like I said, the dog is never like, standing in front of the master barking at this thing.
No.
The thing comes into the room, dog just stares at, and it's like coming into the master, and the dog is just like...
Yeah, like that's the thing, he doesn't even like go over to the master and whine, like...
Yeah.
Because...
I mean, there's like one scene in which he whines, but like that's kind of it, and there's like one scene where he barks, but it's like, the film is meant to make you think that this thing that's slowly encroaching and it's getting closer and closer, and the dog does not act like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the owner doesn't act like that either. The owner is dealing with all the cancer stuff. And the demon doesn't affect him in any way until the very end. The owner doesn't feel like, there's no moment in which the owner is like, oh, I feel like something, in which the owner is like reacting to anything supernatural or anything at all. The owner is living out a completely different movie until the last 5 minutes when suddenly it becomes The Exorcist. And it felt like, no, you did not do a good... Okay, I'm finally being able to form my thoughts on this. You did not do a good enough job of slowly building up the tension of how this demon is affecting everything.
Yeah.
Indy does not get like more protective of the owner. Like I said, it feels like this was a short that was about a dog dealing with his owner who is dying of cancer. And then someone said, put in there a bunch of scenes of the dog staring at the wall, and we'll add a demon in there. And that's what this feels like. Because, yeah, they never at any point make it feel like this is a demonic possession film. Until, like, the very end when it happens. And, like I said, in my mind, this was going to be a film about a dog having to protect his master, the bond between a dog and his owner.
Yeah.
And it's really not.
No.
It's
like,
just a dog staring.
Like, you see things from the dog's point of view, but you don't feel from the dog's point of view.
That is a wonderful way of putting this, yes. And man, this thing has like a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I hate saying this. I don't want to be in that 5%.
No, it's like I am glad people enjoyed this movie, and I am glad that these, like, this group who've made the film are, like, getting attention, because it is not easy putting a film together.
This had to be hard to do. Like,
yes.
Listen, any movie is hard to do. A movie with dogs? Yeah, forget it.
With, like, no budget or anything, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, there's like 6 people in here in like 3 locations. That's it. So yeah, it's sad. It is, like, I went into this film, and it opens up with like a montage of like the owner getting the dog and like going through like the dog growing up and all this. And man, I was already like preemptively getting ready to cry because I'm like, I know it's gonna happen. And then I spent the rest of the film like, does Indy care? Does Indy care about that his owner has like that? Does Indy care that there's a big shadow monster in there? Does Indy care that things are happening to his own? What's happening in here? Yeah. And again, like, you never get the sense that the demon is actually there. It feels like a separate film that, again, like, they just didn't know how to shoot that. I would honestly have been more interested in a short film about a dog reacting to his owner dying of cancer.
Or like the demon like symbolizes cancer or something like that.
It definitely does. There's no question. We'll get into that in the spoiler part. But yeah, there's no question that's what it's supposed to symbolize. That is 100% what it's supposed to symbolize. But here's the thing. You don't really need the symbol when the thing it's symbolizing is already in the movie.
You're right. Like, he got diagnosed with cancer first, and then the demon comes along. It's like, that's weird. Usually, wouldn't the demon come along and like give him cancer or something like that? Or
yeah, you get the sense that it's like a curse or something that has been placed on him, something like that. And like if they defeat the demon, then like his master gets all better or something like that. No, it is very clear the demon is supposed to be a metaphor for cancer. I was saving that for the spoiler part of this, but yeah, that's very clearly what this is supposed to be a metaphor for, except that he's already dealing with that to begin with in the film. So I was like, why did you need the demon in the first place?
Yeah, that's not exactly how metaphors work.
Well, so. I've seen films in which they do have the supernatural thing be a metaphor for the thing they're dealing with. Like, we've seen things in which someone deals with like a traumatic thing from their past, and then they have like the supernatural thing going on, and that is very clearly supposed to be the thing, that a physical manifestation of the thing that they're dealing with. But all right, screw it. Spoiler time. We'll give our score. My score on this is a C.
I also give it a C.
Yeah, flat C. I might even go C minus, but I'll be nice and say C. Okay, so like I said, many horror films out there will have the evil, horrible, supernatural thing be the metaphor for the thing that the character is already dealing with. But they do that as a way for the character to tackle it, to actually like face it in a way that they couldn't emotionally tackle it, to actually be able to defeat it in some sort of way. The end of this film is that the owner dies of cancer. He actually does die of cancer.
Like, doesn't he like get dragged into the hole in the basement?
It's his soul. Yeah, because you see him, like, there's the thing where you never see the people's faces, but then he goes to bed, and then he wakes up and you see his face, and it's like, oh, that's weird, there's something to it. And then he looks back in the bed and he sees his body in there. It's like, he has died. And the dog can sense his spirit in there, but then the demon grabs him and pulls him down into the basement, into the hole in the basement, and the dog is trying to pull him back out of the basement. And at the end of this, he goes, I'm sorry, boy, but you can't save me. And then he goes into the hole and he gets sucked down into the pits of hell. And then the dog is just left there in the basement, and a few days later, his sister comes, opens the door, and she's crying and goes, oh my God, Indy, come on, girl. And then the film ends with Indy and the sister's car being driven away. It is very clear that the demon is supposed to be a metaphor for this, and that this is supposed to be a film about what it's like for a dog to lose their owner to some kind of a disease that they can't do anything about. Except that, like I said, Indy never seems that worried about the owner. And I'm sorry to like critique the acting of a dog, but yeah, the dog just never really seems that concerned about the well-being of the owner. I never got that feeling. But also, like, then at the very end, when he's being dragged in, all I could think was, he already died. It already happened. The thing this is a metaphor for already happened in this film. Like I said, most of the times in horror films in which you have something traumatic happening to the character, and then you have a monster that's supposed to be the metaphor for that, it is so that way they can tackle it, that way they can explore it in a deeper way. Everything is already accomplished through the actual cancer itself. I feel like we needed a spoiler warning at the beginning of this. We needed a trigger warning at the beginning of this video. My apologies.
It's like the scene where Indy sees his owner standing and then looks over at the bed and sees the body. Like, I don't know. I thought like it was like the demon trying to like imitate his owner, but like I guess not.
No, it's already done. Yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah, all I could think was like, you don't need a monster to be the metaphor for this. If he's going to die to the cancer and then die to the demon again, like have his soul sucked down into hell. I was like, that really feels like insult to injury at that point. Like there's no using they do not use the demon to be a metaphor for the cancer. The cancer is the cancer. And the demon is like a double metaphor for it because it has the exact same outcome in the end. And all I could think was, I get that this is supposed to be about the dog can't do anything. The dog can't save his owner from this. The dog can't help in any way. And it's supposed to be us experiencing what it's like for the dog to lose his owner like that when he can't do anything. Except, as I said, he already did. Mm-hmm. And if he's already going to die like a few minutes before this, what is the point of doing the scene of the demon pulling him down to hell if the dog is also going to lose that? Like, it feels like, no, if the dog can't save him from cancer, he should save his soul or something. Like, he pulls him back out through that. Like that line there at the end of, I'm sorry, boy, but you can't do anything for me. Like, that's clearly meant to be an owner telling his dog, I'm dying from this thing, you can't help me. And yeah, that is supposed to be sad and traumatic, except as I said, it just happened 5 minutes ago. And it felt like this whole demon thing is completely unnecessary in any way. It serves no purpose to the story. It felt like, okay, you could have used this to be like some kind of a closure for the dog, that the dog at least gets to like save him from this. Because if the whole, like I said, my big complaint was, at the end of this, I said, what was the point of any of this? If the dog can't save him from cancer, then what does the dog do? What was the point of him then being sucked down into hell by the demon? What was the point of that? It serves literally no purpose when we just had the whole cancer thing 5 minutes before this. Yeah, that's my point about what was the point of any of this. And because, yeah, you're allowed to have your protagonist fail. You are. But they have to learn a moral. Mm-hmm. What moral does the dog learn?
Honestly.
Yeah, you don't have an answer.
Nothing is. Like, half the time you wonder if there's even any thought process going on in the dog's head.
Yeah, you never get a sense that, again, like, if this was going to be a story about the bond between a man and his dog, and the dog having to come in there and protect the master, and you get everybody's heart swelling 3 times its size in that audience, watching the dog save their owner, then yeah, I understand the point of that film. If the dog loses, but the dog learns something, I understand the point of that. Dog loses, and I have no sense of how, like, the dog is sad. Of course the dog is sad. I have no, what was the point? What was the moral? I honestly don't know.
Acceptance? I don't know.
Does it?
I don't know. We can't tell. This dog does not emote.
I didn't like this. I did not like this film. I'm sorry. I am bumming it down to a C-, and me giving it credit for trying something new with a small budget is doing a lot of heavy lifting on that, but a script costs nothing. That's all I'll say. Like, listen, I give you a lot of credit for what you try to do with this, do with your setting, with your budget, with the dog. I give you so many credits for that. I don't understand why you would write this because I don't understand what the point was. And again, that's not me saying everything needs a happy ending in the end. It's like, no, but everything needs like a moral. It needs like, okay, it needs a moral. It needs like some kind of a challenge that gets overcome.
Like
it needs
a purpose.
a purpose. There's no challenge that's overcome. There's no moral that's learned. I'm sorry. I don't understand what the point of this film was. Other than just to go like, look, it's a dog. And that is a very good dog. And he deserves so much love and attention. But yeah.
He is indeed a good boy.
Yeah. And
too bad he's not in a good movie.
I hate it. And I'm thinking about that artist on Blue Sky that I follow who did like the amazing little fan art of like not Lucky, of Indy as Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I was just like, yeah, but Courage actually accomplished things.
Mm-hmm.
Indy does nothing in this film. Like,
yeah.
I hate saying that, but yeah. That's the other thing. That is the other thing about this, about Indy, and I just realized how to sum this up perfectly. If Indy wasn't in this movie, everything would have played out exactly the same. If I can say your protagonist not being in a movie would have had the exact same stuff happen, that you screwed something up. I'm sorry. Yeah, that is, oh my God, I'm sorry, but it just hit me right now. That is the perfect way to sum up my problems with this film. If Indy, the protagonist of this film, was not in this movie, everything would have happened to everybody the exact same way. That sums it up there. I hate saying that, I do. Yeah. In your movie, you want everybody to be important, but that's, it's understandable that there are going to be some characters who are not important, who, if they are missing, would not have had anything to it. You're not supposed to say that about the protagonist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that hit me. Wow, I'm sorry, but I've been trying to think of like, what's the best way to sum up my problems with this film? That hit me like a lightning bolt right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, man, you're a good dog, Peach.
Yes.
You would definitely bark at a demon.
Yes, you bark at everything.
You bark at people in the hallway outside. You barked during the last review. Yes,
you had a bad dream and you barked.
Fun fact, anytime the dog just starts randomly barking at stuff, I always say, what is it, buddy? Is it the ghost? Is it the ghost? Just in the off chance that it is a ghost. You're like, just that 1 in a million shot. Just so that way the ghost is like, oh shit, all right, they can see me. I'm out. You're a good dog. All right, everybody. Come back next week. We're going to still be watching films from previously in 2025 that we missed out on. I was going to say let's do The Woman in the Yard, but
that's also another movie.
That's another movie that I'm like, fuck this thing.
So we kind of need like a buffer between the two.
We're going Nosferatu, which we haven't seen yet, so we might be like, fuck this thing on that as well. But we'll come back for that, and we'll talk about that film and that. So yeah, if you want to know what we're talking about next week, Nosferatu. See you then, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.